So check this out. Whenever I turn it on to the marker lights, it lights up our instrument cluster just like the factory. This Champion radiator here, this is for a 22-inch core, which is what this car came with. Alrighty, good morning. It's a cool morning here. We've got the Challenger all loaded up and ready to go. Last video you guys saw, we drove this thing for the first time, and a lot of you guys said it sounded like a tractor and the tune was off. But we'll get into that in just a little bit. We'll talk about that here in a little while. I'm going to show you what we're doing. We're getting exhaust put on today. And I want to show you what kind of exhaust we're getting. We are using Flowmaster, their stainless Flow FX. You can see here these boxes look pretty rough. They've been sitting in storage for quite a while, but let me get that part number for you guys. Let's see, turn that over. 71226 for each muffler. It's 2.5 inch. I'm not going race car, so I don't need anything bigger, but check these out. I bought these last year when I went to the Mopar Nationals with my Duster, and look at that. Full stainless, all the way through, you can see. And they really weren't that expensive either. So I'm excited about that. And then in this box over here, we've got new chrome exhaust tips from Classic Industries. And these things look amazing. All brand new. That's gonna look awesome in the Challenger. Oh yeah, I'm excited about that one. So let's get this thing up to Sammy's is where we're going. They do all of my exhaust work. They've done the Charger, done all, they did this truck here. They do that truck there, the petty truck. So pretty much every vehicle here has Sammy's exhaust on it, and the Challenger is the next one in line. So what happened in the last video was you saw me drive the car for the first time. Now, it was running rich, very rich. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, the tune, you know, it's got to learn, it's got to figure out its parameters. But the biggest reason was because a couple factors, and one played into it more than the other, obviously. But the first one being that the O2 sensor was too close to the end of the pipe, because I just had a little down pipe about that long made, and the O2 sensor was probably like right about here. So it really wasn't enough pipe between the O2 sensor and atmospheric air to get a proper reading. And on top of that, there's a vacuum port for the map sensor that's internal to the Terminator X computer, and I forgot to hook that up. So what happens is there are 3 different target AFRs built into the Terminator X when you get it. There's an idle AFR, wide open throttle AFR, and a cruising AFR. What was happening is, now, and it determines this based on the vacuum signal that you get from the engine. So if you're sitting at idle, you're going to have a high vacuum reading. If you're cruising, you're going to have an even higher vacuum reading. You know, just at part throttle cruising, no load. But as soon as you get into wide open throttle, open the throttle blades up, and then the engine's under load, you're going to lose all vacuum. You should at least. So the computer was recognizing, hey, you have this thing floored, because there's no vacuum signal at all. So whenever there's no vacuum signal, it's going to go for that wide open throttle target AFR, which is 12.5, I believe. And the difference between that and the idle AFR was, the idle AFR is 13.8. And the higher the number, the leaner the mixture is, so the less fuel that the computer inputs. And this thing was swinging to like 8 to 1, 9 to 1, because it couldn't figure out where to be. And the biggest issue was because not only was it trying to do that wide open throttle target AFR, but there was no input from the throttle position sensor, so it's at 0. So it's like, what the heck? Why is it at 0 and you're flooring this thing right now? It supposedly based on what the computer's thinking. And it really couldn't register where it needed to be. So once I hooked that vacuum hose up, the idle immediately cleaned up. It started to run right. It hit that 13.8 target AFR it was looking for, and I actually took the plugs out and replaced them because they looked terrible, and it immediately fixed itself, and it idles so much better now. So I'm excited to really hear what this thing sounds like. You get to the point where the car wouldn't even start because the plugs were so fouled out and the thing was running so rich that I replaced those spark plugs, fixed that vacuum hose, and it immediately changed the whole car. Empty trailer. Now we wait for the Challenger to complete. I guess it's like dropping your child off at daycare. Kind of sad, but Sammy's gonna take care of her. Always good work. We are back at Sammy's. If you guys need some exhaust, give them a call. Do awesome work. Let's go check out the Challenger. There she is. I cannot wait. Let's check out these tips here. Dang, those look good. Those are from Classic Industries and they look awesome. All right, first startup, an initial reaction. Oh yeah. Let's get this thing home. So between this clip and that last clip you just watched, we dropped the Challenger off and got a front end alignment, got all four tires balanced, got new tires that are matched in the rear, and two things happened while we were getting that done. One thing is they managed to break my door handle, and the steering wheel is not straight after that alignment. So, more things to the list. But at the end of the day, the Challenger has a front end alignment. The wheels do turn straight. No more excessive camber like you guys saw in that last video. And it has full exhaust. So it does run a heck of a lot better, surprisingly. A couple of little small details that I want to talk about that I'm excited about. So you'll notice back here we've got some speakers chilling out. And what I did was install this little kit called Out of Sight Audio. And you can just barely see it right there. The glass is dirty, but I'll try to zoom in on it. See that little green bar? That is the module box. All it is just a little box. You run power to it, and then you have outputs to your speakers, and that's really it. It's pretty simple to install. It didn't take me long at all once I figured out how to do it. But we've got two JBL 6x9s in the back, and I will have like a tray cover here that Classic Industries provided. Just wanted to leave it off so you guys could see what I was working on. But the little Out of Sight you can run with your factory radio. And this car did have a factory AM radio in the dash, but I'm not using it because it doesn't work. But you could wire it in to where you played the radio, and then you have your speaker input go to the box, and then the outputs go to either one whenever you turn your Bluetooth on. But since I don't really listen to the radio a lot, I typically just listen to my phone. I just have it to where when you turn the key, all you have to do is have your phone on and connect it to Bluetooth. Since YouTube is very aggressive on their copyright claims, I'm using just some copyright-free music off YouTube. So check this out. I'm going to turn the key on. Playing through my phone. There it is. Playing through my speakers. I've got a 6x9 up here as well. I'm missing the speaker grill for the original Challenger because it broke. It was so brittle. So I just put the one that came with it. I've got one on order for original Challenger dash. Check that out. How awesome is that? And the cool thing is too, is you can control the volume from your phone. So I turned it down. And turn it back up. Pretty neat, isn't it? Another thing I added, since I like to travel with this car, that's my plan, added these USB ports into the cigarette lighter. So it just ran to 12 volts. When the key turns on, you get power to the USB ports. And when you're not using it, close this up, and then the lid will close up in it. I mean, I'm not smoking, I don't smoke cigs, so all I gotta do is, I got two little ports here, I can charge my camera and charge my phone on the road. Another little detail that I was excited about was on this Dakota digital gauge cluster. I figured out something pretty neat on it, is that you see how they're very bright right now, like extremely bright. And at nighttime, you know, you'll be able to see that, but you want it to be a little easier on the eyes. So whenever I flip the headlight switch over here, watch what happens. First off, I've got my lights. I've got brand new bulbs where the factory bulbs went, and they're green, so they look beautiful. But not only do they come on, it will actually dim the Dakota digital dash. All this is fully customizable. You can put how bright you want it, how dim you want it, and it's awesome. So watch this one more time. Lights off, lights on. Not only are those lighting up, but I've also got this little switch panel for the Vintage Air AC system. So see here, off and on. And it works. Pretty neat, huh? Right there is a temporary vacuum hose that I added to make sure that the Terminator X was getting any kind of vacuum reading. So what was happening is that, being that there was no vacuum going to the box, it thought, hey, you're wide open at all times, when that really wasn't the case. What the true case was is that we were sitting here at idle with nothing going on. So it's just dumping fuel, dumping fuel, dumping fuel, and he couldn't figure out what was going on. So whenever we actually hooked that up, it's like, oh, hey, you're really not at wide open throttle, so we're not going to give you as much fuel like we thought you needed. And that really cleaned up the idle. So that's plenty of fooling around in the shop on little details. Let's do what you guys are here for and hear that exhaust. We're going to take the thing on the road, feel that alignment, and listen to those new Flowmasters as we let the Challenger stretch her legs.
gonna attempt to drive it. This thing is idled up a little too high, and the clutch disc, I guess, is breaking in. You can hear that. I don't know. I don't think I put it in wrong, but I could have. But once it's fully engaged or fully disengaged, it quits making noise. So it's like the transition period. Also, you can hear the clutch rod rubbing against the firewall. That's something else I gotta fix, but sounds a heck of a lot nicer to drive. Dang, this sounds pretty good. Drive straight. Like I said, I gotta fix the clutch rod, rub it against the firewall, and I guess just drive it. I don't know if the clutch disc is acting up or something's wrong with it, but if it is something with it, I'll give it a little time to break in, and if it doesn't fix itself, then we will pull it back out. But just part of the shakedown of everything, you gotta make sure everything works right and all that good stuff. But at least it's not fighting me to drive anymore. The steering wheel, yeah, it's crooked, but we'll fix that. Like 2,800 RPM. Sounds like my throttle body's whistling. That's fourth gear. That's overdrive. We are flying. Slow her down a little bit. Yeah, you'll have to excuse the clutch. It's making all sorts of noise. We'll get it figured out. It's just one of those things that I don't know what's going on. But that's why we do shakedowns. Let's turn her around real quick. Everything seems to be working okay. I mean, we've got all our gauges showing good pressure. Sounds wicked. Holy crap. Good Lord. Woo, that doesn't sound good. I didn't like that. Something's up. Yeah, I think we're going to pull the transmission back out. That was like 3,500 RPM. Good thing we're not too far. I just wonder if the throwout bearing is making noise, like something's not engaging right. That or I broke third gear.
try third. Let's see when I let off the gas. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of worried to find out what it could possibly be. Because reverse isn't making any noise, first isn't, but second, third, and fourth started making a funny noise. So I got the car jacked up inside the shop, and you can definitely hear the noise now. I've got it in gear, and the good news is that it is actually coming from the rear end and not the transmission. If we look under the car, this is a gear set that I had put in the car back whenever I was doing the Mo Party. I needed something to put in there just so I could put the axles in, and this is the same center section I used in the Charger when I did Power Tour 2019. So this thing's seen a lot of miles, a whole lot of miles. And I guess whenever I put it in second and, you know, just kind of wound out the gear until like 3,500 RPM, I guess that load that it was feeling, it didn't like that. So I have destroyed this rear end. It's an open 276, so I guess I broke it real good that time. But hey, the good news is we've got a solution for that. We're gonna take it out and we'll change that. It's gonna be a really awesome little gear set. I'm gonna tell you right now. We'll do that in the next video. The Challenger was also idled up about 200 RPM too high. Now that I've corrected that, this thing sounds so much better. You can really hear that tone from the factory Challenger exhaust tips, how they're split right in the middle. That's something that you really don't hear in any other factory vehicle. This car, I mean, that's how they all sound like. I love it. It's that unique signature sound. And what's next for the Challenger? Now obviously we have a few things that happened in this video that went wrong. Obviously the rear end has to be changed. But don't worry, the next video will feature some tire shredding rear gear. So be in the lookout for that one, it's going to be awesome. Another thing, we had to figure out what's going on with the clutch. I mean, it's a new clutch, but it does make a lot of noise, so I don't really know what's going on there. It only happens when the disc is trying to go from fully engaged to fully disengaged, the transition period for them to mesh. As soon as you put your foot all the way down in the clutch, it stops, and as soon as you let all the way out on the clutch, it stops. So I don't know if it's just the fact that it's a new clutch or what's going on. I might have put it in wrong, who knows. On top of that, we need to figure out how to fix the clutch rod to keep it from scraping against the firewall. That's what the squeaking is, so we will fix that in the next episode as well. Other than that, interior is next. That's what I'm most excited about. We can finally finish up the dash, we can finally put in the carpet, get new seats, finish up the trim pieces around the headliner, and drive this thing and have it be done. Cannot wait. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like down below. If you have a question for me, feel free to leave a comment and order your t-shirts and your stickers. Make sure you guys subscribe to Classic Mustangs 429 if you haven't already. He's a really good dude. And that's about it, guys. Thanks so much.
I'll see you in the next one.
Who's a good boy?